Jim
Um,
was basically just sitting there with his head in his hands, but when he sees the door, he slowly gets up and goes over to it.
so the moment it cracks open, your friends, all of them in the room, that's all the rest of you except for Jim, they all freeze in place. Only you're moving.
Can I go through the door?
There's something coming through the door. This woman is on the other side of the door. You recognize her from the temple.
Oh, is she the one that pops people's heads off?
She is.
Oh, hello again.
Hello, good night. I see you have found one of mine.
Really got to handle these guys better. They're not doing too well.
Oh, it seems like you and your friends are doing just fine. Although I can try. I'm only here to collect it. Is that all right with you, Jim?
Oh, he looks like he's gonna die anyway, so yeah, sure, don't let me stand in your way.
So as your friends are frozen, you see the man's head start to turn at the neck as she works her finger through the air. They were all made to die like this. It's a bit unfortunate, but what isn't? You can hear the bones pop and break as she spins this man's head around by force of will. Have you ever wondered, Jim, if you were meant to die like this too?
My head popped off?
Or something. I can't say. I'm not the one who called you here.
Well, if she wants me to die, I suppose that's my purpose.
If only I had a servant like you. The head pops off cleanly. And the little tiny devil's head does too. It's just looks like a little dot. She pulls them in towards herself. Would you like me to take care of this body for you as well?
Yeah, sure.
Very good. She actually points towards the body with one hand flat out and drags it towards the door, also by will of force. It just kind of sits up and starts sliding backwards from the seated position towards her until it goes through the door, as she steps aside. Very good. Tell your friends. Well, I'm sure you'll think of something. Just try not to sound too insane.
Oh, I am no good at that, but I'll do my best.
Take care, Jim. She steps through the door with the floating heads kind of orbiting her and the body kind of just dragged away into the darkness, and the door slams shut. The scene unfreezes just as the door shuts and the door vanishes.
Okay, so there's a smear across the floor suddenly?
That just leads to the wall.
Yeah.
And thing is gone, and Jim is not standing where he was a second ago, I imagine.
What did you do, Jim?
Simone just looks at where the body was, and the blood just kind of stumbles back a little bit, all right.
Work of an enemy stand, clearly.
What the hell?
Yeah,
They showed up again.
What?
Wait, what?
The twisty head lady. She popped their heads off.
Oh.
Why?
She popped his head off?
Yeah.
It's like the terrorists.
Who the hell?
So there's a stand going around just popping people's heads off?
Well, specifically those guys, yeah.
Specifically what guys?
The terrorist guys.
There's a stand lady going around popping terrorists' heads off?
I've actually never seen her stand. I don't know if she's a stand user or not, but yes.
So that guy's connected to those other guys before.
Or was.
As you guys are talking, the little ghosts float in and start wiping themselves across the blood.
No, don't do that. Go away.
No,
we'll clean this.
This is
you
good.
Go.
We
no,
they're gonna. They're
you
getting
can
rid
watch
of the evidence.
I'm not letting my friends wipe themselves in blood. You wipe it up yourself, murdered mafia lady that wants to put bodies in the ocean, and then I take my ghosts and I go home. No, I walk out to my room.
Ooh.
No.
They got most of it looks like.
No, I have to wash them.
Hey.
Yeah,
how do you wash ghosts?
I would assume laundry.
Just put them in the washing machine.
I asked them if it's okay, and then yes. Will you be okay? Will you be okay in the washing machine? I think I should hand wash you. Nia is terrified scrubbing the ghosts in the bathtub now. Thanks. Not good. She's not having a happy time in there.
Nia, you have a stand that records things. You have an aspect called witness. I'll tell you this: if you were to record or if you had to look back at your footage that you normally take, you would see that masked face appear like between frames just for 1 second.
Well, then after she is done freaking out in the bathroom, like for a while, she'll come back to show people the weird mask lady. So it was real. I show all my friends while like being a little freaked out.
That's creepy.
Ugh.
Is this your god, Jim?
Oh no, this is somebody else.
Who is this? This is like the devil?
I have no idea. I just keep running into her whenever I'm in the weird place.
And she
The weird
eats people,
place?
and she keeps eating people?
Eating them, popping their head off, and the weird place where I go when I come through weird doors.
So you've come
Oh.
across her more than once.
A couple of times now, yeah.
Hey, this reminds me. Remember back in the aquarium, Simone? There was a lady in a portal when that guy's head popped off, and
Oh.
there was a droplet of blood. I wasn't sure who that was, and did you ever, look into that?
Oh, I did gather it. Just never had the time to look at it.
Maybe we should.
Probably.
Aerosol.
What?
She eats people
So?
like a vampire.
Yeah, let's freaking look at this blood. Hope it's still good.
But that means that I just proven that vampires exist.
Nah, she might be like, she could have still been made by people and not be a real vampire.
You are so in denial. Okay.
Well, we don't know yet. Let's go study the blood.
Yeah.
She's right. It could be a really weird stand user that
Probably is.
eats people and live on the moon. I don't know. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm back. I'm okay. We didn't murder a guy. Let's investigate.
A soggy ghost floats in. It's like there's bubbles appearing in front of its mouth when it tries to ooh.
Dry off in the bathtub. Dry off in the bathtub.
It floats away. Okay, the blood sample. You have a little lab set up, and I'd say you have the equipment to probably do very simple stuff like that. By the way, Jim, I'll say since this is the second time you met that woman, you get a general sense when somebody is like evil, weirdly, or when it's related to your quest. She doesn't really come off as evil. She just has like kind of a strange aura compared to others. She doesn't have that sort of hellish aura like that guy did. With the two, you can ascertain that this is an AB negative blood type from a woman, someone likely of a European descent-ish, and you can tell sort of the age, but not quite, from the quality of the blood, the cells. This came from a woman who is 1 year old.
She'll probably stare at the blood for a while, blink, make sure, and go, blood seems like it came from a 1 year old.
Excuse me?
1 year old.
It was clearly a woman in that portal.
Well, her blood type is AB, and the rough age of the cells, the mitosis.
Immortal vampire!
Yeah, whoever blood this belonged to was 1 year old.
Are you bullshitting me?
Do you want to check again?
She'll check again. 1 year old.
That's really... Look, I don't know much of anything with regards to, but that doesn't make sense.
Do you want to roll again? I'll let you roll one more time.
Where did you get your science degree? Probably bought that shit.
Oh.
This blood, so when you go to look at it again and notice that it is like it has the qualities of a younger cell, as you're looking at it, the cell starts to age like right before your eyes. It is now the quality of a 70-year-old woman.
And now the blood's become the quality of a 70-year-old woman?
So you changed your mind?
No, the blood's changing. And she grabs Marisol and puts her up to the microscope.
I don't know what I'm looking at. Wait, I guess it is kind of moving around, I guess.
Yeah, you see the cell kind of like plump up, then like wither a little, then kind of distort.
Whoa. She gives it back. That's really weird.
Mortal vampire blood?
Try and call him question my degree?
Alright, sorry. I take it all back. That's just some weird blood. Should have figured it was, though.
Apology accepted.
So now you have this very strange blood sample. The question is, whose is it? You know, like Simone, you would have had some contact. I think enough contact with these undead to have a sample of their blood at least.
Yeah, I would imagine.
If you were to compare this to their blood, it is not at all similar. Like the cells that you see in the undead are kind of very, very rigid. They're being propped up by other like particles inside of the cell, other parts that kind of seem to act as a strange scaffolding to keep them propped up and in shape. This cell from the woman, the masked woman, is a mutating cell, but it is not a it doesn't have that artificial construction inside of it.
So it's entirely natural.
In a way. You also have Holland's heart, I believe. Do you not?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really get at the tissue from because it's still in that glass case. But if you were to examine that like under a very powerful microscope, it's likely you could sort of make out some of the cells. And if you did, you would notice that they have the same scaffolding as the other undead. If it's any indicator, the only tissue sample that you have that's vampiric is not a match for this.
Oh God. And she looks at and Marisol thinks about it and be like, well, probably ends up showing her some of the blood samples that she's taken of the zombies and stuff.
Marisol curiously looks on. Wow, this stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like there's some metal scaffolding. There's it looks like the cells degenerating, but then the constructs here, here, and here are keeping it from completely dissolving or dying off.
Whoa. So it's like, what's it called? Some sort of technology thing, right?
Possibly.
What do you mean possibly? That's not natural, right?
Well, right now we have the samples of zombies and a man who was already biologically engineered. So
Yeah. Which none of those are natural. So.
no, not to begin with.
So, did you see this like weird scaffolding stuff in that blood back there?
No, it was entirely natural-ish, roughly.
Ah. Well, not a zombie and not a vampire?
Yeah, so far.
You're a biologist, so you'd be familiar with what I'm likely to say it is. With a 5, you would know this. In history, there have been people that have had what are called immortal tumors. These are cancerous growths that are harvested and then kind of grown in a lab, passed along for the purposes of research. Though the cells themselves are very strange, very active, mutating, changing and shifting, there are some similarities to the cancerous cell samples that have been used for this. From what you can tell, some kind of fluctuating immortal state of a cell.
Huh.
But there you go. You've done some research now. You've gotten that information.